What's up, OddsJam? Mike Wade here. Time for another book review. If you've been watching our videos so far, we've done a bunch of books. So far, we've done The Logic of Sports Betting by Ed Miller, Matthew Davidow. We've done The Everything Guide to Sports Betting by Josh Applebaum. Most recently, we did Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover by Pat Haggerty. And today, we're going to talk about The Zen of Gambling by Allyn Roots. As you can see, my book copy's a little chewed up. I love buying used books. I do it all the time. This book was made in 2004. It's a little dated, but it still has some great value. So I want to talk a bit about this today, and we're going to jump right in. So let's do it. Before we jump into the book review, I want to super quick offer a shout out to commenter Last Match. Last Match actually suggested The Zen of Gambling on my first book review video. It was a great suggestion. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed reading it. And I tell you guys that because I'm always looking for more literature reviews. So if you have a book that you think would be great, it's about sports betting or kind of in the family of sports betting, be sure to leave in the comments and I will check it out and we'll do a review sometime later this year. First things first, I always like to talk about what this book is and what this book is not. So I've now done, this is my fourth book for OddsJam. The first two books I did, The Logic of Sports Betting and The Everything Guide to Sports Betting, were very much how-to guides on how to win at sports betting. Really just getting down to the brass tacks, look for this, here's the skills, here's how you learn about markets, that sort of thing. Very good at that. Great Teams Cover, Good Teams Win by Great Teams Cover, Pat Haggerty, very much a story that's about his life and a kind of intertwined with gambling and sports betting and his experiences. The Zen of Gambling, very much like that as well. Allyn Roots has led a interesting life, to say the least, and he talks a lot about that, his upbringing, his failures, successes in business, his ability to just be resilient and keep going. It's not even until chapter 12 when he actually even talks about how to bet and how to win successfully and things that he does when he bets, when he wins. So it's a lot of this book is a story, and it's a story that obviously was written in 2004, so it's dated almost 20 years now, so there's definitely some little dated references, but it's a story that brings value to his experiences which I think are good and relatable, and it really, there's a lot of the things that he talks about gambling still very much hold up today, and we'll get into a little bit of that as well. But I just want you to know, if you're going to pick this up, get ready for a story about Wayne, about his life, and how that helped him become such a good sports bettor. So let's talk about what I didn't like by the book. I know I usually do the opposite, but I want to do the other way around this time. So obviously, Allyn Roots is a big salesman, and what he's doing is he is selling himself and his brand. The book kind of goes on for a long time about who he is and how great he is and his accolades and how he's a self-made millionaire, son of a butcher, all of which, to my understanding, is all true and all well and good, but it's a lot of information about his upbringing and story, really just kind of selling his persona on who he is and how he's gotten to where he was in 2004. There's also a bit about the correlation between sports betting and betting on Wall Street, which I do not know tremendous about. And there's also a lot about actual gambling, poker, blackjack, that sort of things. At best, I'm an amateur card player and an amateur investor, so I can't really speak to the merits of those things, but I kind of felt like he didn't do himself as well of a service as he should have if he had just focused on the sports betting stuff, which is clearly what he knows the most about, and that's the part he could articulate the most and kind of give those specifics. When it got to the Wall Street stuff, it was kind of repetitive, and the analogies I don't think held up as well as I could have. So I could have done without the Wall Street stuff and the poker stuff, but the nuggets about betting on football and betting on college basketball, March Madness, that stuff is still true today. A lot of it is still really good stuff. And I think it's impressive that he was saying these stuff 20 years, 15 years before these guys were saying that stuff. So I will give him credit for that, obviously. What I do like about the book is his general take on gambling. And it actually translates a little bit to, he was talking about poker and just taking risks in life, and Wall Street was the whole contrarian style of thinking, going against the grain. That much is very much true. Not listening to talking heads on the Wall Street Channel or ESPN, not doing what everybody else is doing. Try and think about what everybody else is doing. When you zig, whenever they zig, you zag. And his whole book kind of covers that and how to apply that to gambling and everything else. And that is so true. You know, the public tends to bet overs and favorites, and we all know that historically speaking, that's in general not the best strategy, and he was in on that pretty early. at least relative to all the other books I've read. So I want to give him credit for understanding the importance of not necessarily listening to the masses. And he has a funny term called them the masses of asses, or the massive asses, which I really do appreciate. And he intertwines that whole idea into betting, because in sports betting, it really is good to go against the grain, because if you were doing what everybody else is doing, those books they're obviously accommodating for that. They're going to make you pay for that, and that's just where you're going to lose value. So I really liked the fact that, and everything in this book, he talks about acting like a contrarian bettor, which just in general is just good advice. So I thought he was really on the money with that analysis. My favorite chapter, far and away, and I've never seen anything like this in any of the books I've read so far, chapter 14, the Contrarian Betting Calendar. So this is what he does. The whole chapter, it lays out the calendar year, January to December, obviously, and each month is a different segment about a certain sports market or sports markets and what to focus on. I'm actually reading April right now. It's called Betting Baseball, Pitchers, and Umpires. And he talks a lot about how, obviously, football's over. We're at the end of March Madness, a little bit of playoff basketball coming, but baseball, baseball's a long season, lots of betting opportunities, we all know, has just getting started. And what happens a lot in baseball is the best teams haven't really hit their stride yet. A lot of bad teams are going to win a lot of baseball games in April. So it's a great time to find a lot of positive expected value, get those big money line payouts. Hitters have not exactly gotten the full swing yet, so pitchers are a little bit more dominant. And he talked about all these other things that have to do with the time of year. July, the dog days of baseball. October, betting the NFL, contrarian strategy. December, my contrarian rules for college football bowl games. All stuff which is like pretty interesting and topical to the time of year and the time of the season of that sport. Obviously early baseball and college football, you get the idea. I've never seen that in a book about sports betting, and I actually thought that was super interesting. And all of the 12 sections, they're pretty good. They hold up pretty well, and a lot of the logic and strategies he's talking about really do have great value. So for that alone, I really did appreciate it. I thought that was a super sweet add to the book. So of course, the $1 million question, should you buy it? I'm gonna say yes. If you can get past the dated references, the kind of the long in the tooth story about who he is and where he came from, and kind of all the kind of bravado that the author brings about himself, and I've kind of talked about it a little bit. If you can get past all of that, it's still a pretty fun read. As an older millennial, I was born in '83. It was kind of a fun, like, kind of time capsule effect for me, talking about politicians at the time, star athletes back then, the markets, popular CEOs. It definitely had a feel of a book written in 2004. So for me, it was a little bit of a throwback. And I really did like the gambling stuff he was talking about, like with the stuff of like how we get better at picking winners and all the things we do at OddsJam, trying to help you guys get better winners. I think he was hitting on a lot of those things. I really, again, love chapter 14, his whole calendar schedule on betting throughout the year. I thought that was really great. Overall, I think this is a buy. So I think I would definitely recommend if you're looking for something to read, and you should do it. It's available online. It's mostly used. I don't think it's printed anymore. You can find it pretty much anywhere for under $10. Super cheap cheap pickup. So I would definitely recommend getting it there. So there you go. That's all I got. Thanks again for watching. My name is Michael Wade. This has been the Zen of Gambling by Allyn Roots. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe. Let us know what you thought of this book review. Again, if you're interested in other books out there, please let me know. I would love to read them, do a review later in this year, and we'll get it going. Good luck this weekend with March Madness, Final Four. Hope your brackets are all still intact, and you guys win lots of money. Until next time, see ya.